You know that Jennifer's Body was actually based off a true story. Trigger warning, this may be disturbing for some viewers.
For those who were too young or weren't even born when the movie came out, Jennifer's Body was a horror comedy about a high school girl that was possessed by a... The movie stars Megan Fox as the succubus who starts consuming her male classmates, and she only turned into a man-eating monster after a rock band sacrificed her to the...
Is our only hope. We're in league with the beast now.
Although this movie was a product of fiction, it bore eerie similarities to a real-life gruesome crime that happened almost 30 years ago, and it centered around a girl named Elise Pollard.
It seems absolutely insane that that movie could be based on anything in reality, but the real-life event, the murder of Elise Pollard, is even more hard to believe.
Elise was just 15 years old when her life was taken away from her. Just like in the movie, Elise was also sacrificed by 3 boys who incidentally were also in a rock band. They lured her into the woods less than a mile behind her house, and she thought they would just hang out and smoke some stuff, but her so-called friends had other things in mind.
Sadly, she was alive and aware long enough to pray out to God and call for her mom for help.
After their recreational session, one of the guys named Jacob walked behind her and wrapped his belt around her neck. Then his friend Joseph a hunting into her body and then passed it to his 2 friends who also her. And as she was lying on the ground, they violently on her neck just to make sure that the deed was done. Unfortunately, her suffering didn't end there.
Now, Elise ended up being 12 times, and none of these wounds were fatal, so then they drug her body further into the woods, and that's where she ended up.
Elise was still alive when the boys left her, but she eventually passed away due to loss. And if you think that was the last of the horrible things done to her, then you're wrong. According to the police, the boys went back and took turns to her corpse. The question now is, why was she hanging out with them in the first place?
She knew about Jacob from school, but not, about Jacob personally. Seeing him in this support group, it kind of shifted her feelings about him because she kind of saw him as like, aw, he's actually trying to clean himself up.
Elise met Jacob when she was in a recovery center because although Elise was considered a good kid by her parents, she had some troubles in the past. Eventually, they developed some sort of friendship, and it was through Jacob where she met his other 2 friends, Royce and Joseph. Little did she know that the boys were already conspiring against her.
So they had picked Elise in particular based on what they thought would appease the harming her would be considered the ultimate sin against God, thus ensuring their ticket to her.
Same as the band in Jennifer's Body, the suspects were also fanatics, as influenced by their favorite metal band, Slayer. They too wanted to have a successful music career, so after reading a bunch of materials about rituals, they decided to offer a sacrifice. Elise was the perfect candidate because she was a virgin, had blue hair, and had blue eyes. For months, no one knew that they had her, and when Elise's parents reported her missing, the police sort of dismissed it, believing that she just ran away from home. Turns out they were totally wrong.
He goes into detail and he agrees to take them to Elise's body at the eucalyptus grove. While he's taking them to Elise's body, police are going to quickly arrest Joseph and Jacob.
8 months after her disappearance, one of the boys developed a conscience and surrendered to the authorities. Royce left his satanic ways and started to be a Christian, so he went to a priest to confess his crime. The priest convinced him to turn himself in, and eventually the other 2 guys followed. Now the 3 are serving their lives in prison, and by the looks of it, they have no chance of getting out, ever.